Welcome back to OpenLine, everybody. We are talking with filmmaker Fr3dR1ck Taylor. He's a documentarian. He's traveled all around the world making documentaries. He lives here in Nashville, also spends time in Atlanta, and he'll be speaking at the Nashville Film Festival. So we'll talk more about that in a moment. And we'll play a clip from one of your movies here in a moment, one of your documentaries. But I want to go to the phones. Let's go to Ann. Hello, Ann.
Hi, good evening. 7 years ago, my youngest daughter spent 11 months walking from Delaware to California alone. And I can't lie and say I wasn't worried about her safety, but it wasn't because of her content in being a comedian. She filmed a documentary while she did this. Today, I would be worried because of her subject content, because she's a comedian. Right now, we have leaders in our country that have a following of Americans that are violent. And documentaries like yours get the word out that these people are out there. So I commend you, and I look forward to looking at these documentaries. So thank you for your work. Thank you for Mr. Hall for having him on here, because these videos need to be made and need to be seen, because we have a culture out there that is being formed by our leaders, and people need to wake up and realize these are dangerous people, and we've never dealt with the likes of them in our country before. And that's all I have to say on it. Thanks for being on the show tonight.
Well, Ann, thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
I did not. Her daughter walked that far.
I don't think I could walk across town.
That would be a great documentary. It would be a great documentary, and that would give her. So that's fascinating, Ann, that your daughter did that.
That's amazing.
What about what she's saying?
Yeah.
What about what do you think there?
Well, we definitely are in times that we cannot compare to any other particular time in history for so many different reasons. Some of them are just based on, technology and what people are perceiving. We don't have town criers anymore. We have social media. So, and that information at times is very tainted. And we do have a violence problem in this country, but we've had a violence problem in this country for a very long time, and we haven't done enough about it. And now, like I had said before, the awareness level is very, very high. And so through content, we're able to get the message out to help people to understand that violence isn't the direction that this country needs to go in. And that's a real challenge there. And that's how we're speaking to people now. And like her daughter, she's out there creating content. And she's also creating laughter as well. And she's dealing with some things that can be very, very serious, but she still has the courage to face up to it as well. And this country was built on courage. There were a lot of people that did a lot of things that were pretty scary, and they did them anyway. Like mobilizing for the Boston Tea Party. That was probably pretty scary for those people back then as well, but they did it anyway. They had the courage to continue to move forward. And we need more people like her daughter that really believe in something as well. And that resonates with people.
I, in doing this show, hear a lot of calls like Ann, that are very concerned about the time we're in now, very concerned about violence now. To hear you talk about, in this film, Counter Histories of Rock Hills, 1961, you want to talk about violence? Sure. There was violence then.
Absolutely, and just like unadulterated, like as the kids like to say, off the chain violence. It was just absolutely positively ridiculous. I mean, you just read about things in the paper every day, like, civil rights leaders being shot or people being, I hate to say it, but like lynched, or people being, found dead floating in rivers in Mississippi and things like that, all for the purposes of trying to get people to mobilize to vote or to stand up for themselves or to even, stand up to worship the God that they believe in as well.
And so when you see that we overcame that to some extent, it gives you hope, confidence that we can overcome where we are now.
Without question. I mean, and we did overcome it, and then we slipped on a banana peel. We were headed in the right direction, and then all of a sudden, we turned into this whole new world order of new money. and control and the digital landscape and these new types of billionaires. And it was, you know, the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezos and things like that that just fell out of the sky in 20 minutes. You know, gone are the days of the J. Paul Gettys and the Fords and all these other people. It's this new money now that, you know, Zuckerberg, I mean, exactly. We're not quite sure about these people. And do they have our best interests at heart? Or are they just trying to make a buck off of our algorithms? And they want to know everything about you so they can sell you everything to keep you docile as well. And, you know, the internet and the digital landscape has influenced the last 2-3 presidential campaigns that have gone on, I would say.
Absolutely,
pretty much.
yeah.
And it's going to be right here on track that in the next election year coming up in a couple of years as well. This is the new normal. So there's a new level of responsibility and accountability that's out there, just like when the printing press came into vogue, and radio and television and film and all of this other stuff. And back when MTV would rot your brain. I long for the days of MTV. Those people seem so sane now.
That was the worry, and it didn't happen. No. But you do a good job of laying out the concern that some have. Sure. There's this whole new social media thing, these new people that are making all this money. Do they have our best interest at heart? You know, is this best for us? So yeah, in 1961 we overcame these horrible things, but in 1961 we didn't have some of the things we have now. And does that...
But we were on the precipice of war. I mean, we almost went to war with Russia. I mean, we could have not been here now in 1961. You know, Khrushchev was a little cuckoo, you know, back in 61.
So see, I think it's just good to put all of that in perspective and think about all of those things. I do like that. All right, I want to play, I guess this is a trailer.
Yes.
So this is not a clip, it's the trailer, the official trailer for Counter History's Rock Hills. And you've kind of explained it.
Yes.
And then we'll come back, we'll talk about it a little more. But let's watch this trailer. A few minutes long.
You don't leave and have to have a warrant issued for your arrest for tardy trespassing.
He suddenly put up his hands and said, "Oh, you're not going to do that to me." Anybody who's been a Negro for long knows what that means.
Let us be united for peace.
We have come a long, long way, but we still have a long, long way to go.
Tomorrow pictures.
And that the rights of every man are diminished, and the rights of one man are threatened.
It is time to heal America.
Its purpose is not to divide, but to end division. The birthright of all humanity.
Let it be said by our children's children that when we were tested, we refused to let this journey end.
If democracy is to live, segregation must die.
Jail, no bail.
That conscience was stirred by men and women who held sit-ins at lunch counters.
The Friendship 9.
Those times were very scary times.
We could have been killed any moment. People are being lynched every day.
Racism is not inherited, it is taught.
A lot of people don't realize how far-reaching or deep-seated that is for both races, white and colored.
Change of heart will change of mind.
I couldn't realize why could I not sit down at the lunch counter with other people.
And we just got tired of that and not being treated like citizens of the city.
We had made up our mind enough was enough.
You agitators, white and colored, want to change it.
If you want to be free, ride on.
What the hell are you doing here?
In the name of the greatest people that have ever trod this earth, I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of tyranny. And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
It takes time, but time's too slow. Now, this old jazz has got to go.
In 1961, 9 courageous men changed history forever.
I see only one face. That is the face of the future.
As soon as I sat on the stool, I was slammed to the floor by the officer.
And we were locked up, right? We did hard labor, we did difficult things.
I believe if it's a strong enough cause that jail, if it has to go to that, then jail will be there.
It's a good country, but we could be a whole lot better.
Counter History, Rock Hill, a Tomorrow Pictures Inc. production.
Wow. So where is that, where could you see that now?
Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon Prime?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Wow. And why did you pick that story? There were counter sit-ins all over. Why those 9? Why Rock Hill? Why that story?
I think that one was the most interesting and most compelling one. That was the best one. That was the one where you had a group of guys that got together one day and were inspired by Kennedy. You know, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And these were 9 young black men who heard this Irish Catholic guy say that at an inauguration, and 2 weeks later, there they are. They're going to march into a local diner, and they're going to sit down, and they're going to do exactly what their president has asked of them. They're being good Americans. They're being good citizens. They're doing the right thing. And that act alone, it took 54 years for them to even be exonerated for those things. So they spent 54 years as felons. So if you're a felon, you can't vote. You're a felon, you can't leave the country, you can't get a passport, can't get a good job. They still figured out a way to go fight in Vietnam for their country, and they still figured out a way to have families and raise their children as well, in spite of these unfortunate and unfair obstacles that were put in front of them for doing the right thing. And that's one of the problems that we have in this country. We scare people into doing nothing. And doing nothing has the same result as doing the wrong thing. We need to inspire people, especially young people, to do the right thing. You know, put it on the line. Get out there.
How hard was it to find the 9 to convince them to talk? I mean, as many as you got. I mean, talk about that process, finding them, getting them to talk, interviewing them.
It was interesting. A couple of them had passed away, and I think someone else did not want to talk, and then many of them did want to talk. And there's something very powerful about a older person. They don't live in fear. They're not scared anymore. They want to talk about things. They see the value of their wisdom, and they understand the power of sharing as well. And so they were very willing to be a part of this process in being able, they really wanted to pass it on to young people. That was their big thing, because they had done this when they were young. They were like, you know, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old at that particular time, and they wanted to hit that demo. They wanted to hit that mark. And what I wanted to do as a filmmaker was make sure that happened. And so the best part about that particular documentary is that young people like it. and that is the hardest thing to do these days, is to get young people to like anything that anyone over the age of 30 does. You know, and so that's been something that's been really exciting and wonderful, and kids love it, and high school kids and college, and moving on up the scale from there.
Well, I was going to ask the reaction. So that's the reaction, that's part of it, and that's what's so important to you. Whenever you tell the story of people that have been through something like that, those 9, the ones that you talk to, you do feel this sense of responsibility, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
What was
it's their legacy?
Yeah, and you want to get it right for them. How did they react when they saw it?
They loved it. They thought it was great. They were portrayed in a positive way, and it was imagine trying to capture somebody's life. Somebody comes into your life and they say, "We're going to tell the story about what it was like when you were in high school." And then they get it right. And you're like, oh my God, that's exactly the way it was. I mean, that's an incredible feeling. That's the power of the medium. And that's the space that we should be using film and television and music in, you know, to be more eternal with our thoughts and our feelings and our ideas and things like that, you know. And I just wish there was more of that. You know, we're going to listen to the Sgt. Pepper's album forever. We're going to listen to the What's Going On album forever. We need more films that we're going to watch forever as well.
Absolutely. All right, we will take a break, and then we'll look at another trailer of another film.
Awesome.
I love this. There's the number if you want to call in. There's 615-737 plus 615-737-7587. Take a break. We'll be back right after this.